started in June of 1969 as a result of the Stonewall riots that happened in New York City. In one of the sections of New York City, there is a large LGBTQ population, and they had an experience where there were officers coming in and basically pushing them out and not allowing them spaces to congregate safely and build community and things like that. While this particular time, I believe it was June 28th, 1969, while it's an occurrence, regular occurrence, it was kind of the tipping point for the LGBTQ movement, to which a riot started as a result of the New York City Police Department coming in and basically not allowing the gay and lesbians folks a space to be able to congregate at this bar. A group of advocates from the community got together and, they basically said enough is enough. Like, we have rights and we have we should be afforded the same rights just as anybody else. And that was the, tipping point of what we know today to be Pride Month. The following year, I believe in 1970, they had like a march or a parade to basically acknowledge all of the work from within the last year of the advocates. And then since then, what became, Pride Day evolved into June as being the National Pride Month.
Going off of that and understanding what Gay Pride or LGBT Pride Month is kind of a reassurance and an understanding off of what Sam said, that it's a national celebration and awareness month when it comes to expressing, when it comes to the community expressing their identities, and also reminding everyone that, they have definitely come a long way when it comes to, claiming their rights and expressing their different identities and individualities, that they have the right to live in a safe environment with the same rights as everyone else. There are still a lot of issues that face the LGBTQ communities. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to the queer community in Kansas, especially within indigenous populations, the terms Two-Spirit has been heavily adopted and has influenced queer communities within indigenous populations. And so the term Two-Spirit, it translates to, there are different translations within other tribes, and other tribes might have their own word for it. But when it comes to the term Two-Spirit, it's this understanding that an individual who identifies as queer, when it comes to like Western terminology, but when it comes to the queer population within indigenous communities, there's an understanding that they have both a masculine and feminine spirit inside, and then they embrace that however they wish. They express it however they wish, and it's kind of something that people have thought, due to colonization, didn't exist. There is a lot of denial that it did exist within some communities. When it came to Western expansion, old beliefs decided to wipe out the existence of two-spirited individuals within each indigenous community. And a lot of two-spirited individuals held high positions when it came to medicine, when it came to leadership, when it came to warriors. And a lot of these beliefs, that didn't align. And so they decided to diminish the existence of two-spirited people to nothing. Not only diminishing them, but diminishing any evidence of them. And so that is kind of where this denial or this certain knowledge is unknown, because it was so disrupted and completely wiped out.
Today's celebrations for Pride look a little bit different than that in the 1970s, right? You can find Pride celebrations as parades, as concerts, workshops and symposiums, but also memorials to commemorate those who have lost their lives to hate crimes and HIV/AIDS as well. The reason why Wellness Connection Services is here to talk about Pride Month is because there have been increasing federal and local policies that encourage focus on LGBTQ youth within the community. There is evidence to support that when LGBTQ youth who identify or we believe to identify on the spectrum, when they have support within their schools, within their communities, within their homes, they're more supported and less likely to feel the impacts of depression and consequently suicidality.
When it comes to supporting friends, family, people that you know, people in your community, first things first, always provide them with a space where they can freely be themselves. It's, in today's world, it often feels like some of those spaces could be very limited to somebody who is still might be exploring or might even know who they are, but might be in a community where it's a little hard to find that support. So always, when it comes to people you know, your friends and your family, it matters to be that person that understands them and also provides them the space to be who they need to be, who they want to be.
In the circumstance that a friend or a loved one comes to you and they share that they identify as LGBTQIA or Two-Spirit, it is incredibly important to be as open-minded as possible during that very vulnerable time as your child or your friend or loved one is sharing and disclosing. A lot of times we hear from youth that have shared, that it can be a very negative experience when they are coming out to their parents or to their guardian or whomever it may be. So it's incredibly important to be as radically accepting as possible, because that will help them as they navigate the world, right? As they navigate their classmates and their choice of gender or identity or sexual expression. A lot of times we work, with folks who have grown up in spaces that people know them, and as we grow and evolve, we change. And that should be no differently accepted than LGBTQ folks identifying and acknowledging who they are.
Making them aware of proper sexual education and safety. There aren't a lot of academically responsible courses for the queer community when it comes to engaging in safe sex and being aware of how to navigate that experience with another partner.
We recommend the Trevor Project. They have an incredible toolkit and information resource on how to support LGBTQ folks. And that is their main demographic of which they provide support services to. They also have a crisis line for LGBTQ folks. There are other, toolkits available and resources If, you know, Google can even be an incredible resource as to, okay, so my child has just shared that they identify, what should I do?
If you're going online for information, you want to be aware of what resources you're looking into. You want to be sure that what you are reading, what you are learning from said website is from a credible source, from credible people who know what they're talking about. Oftentimes, and not all the time, but oftentimes, there are a lot of other resources and websites that people are turning to if they even have an inkling that they find themselves questioning their identity. So all these other websites, all these, you know, there's even quizzes online. Am I gay? Am I lesbian? Am I this? Am I that? Only you know for sure. And so that's why it's important that you are looking at the proper resources.
If you want to be an ally, if you want to support somebody, it involves you doing the work yourself and not expecting the person who just disclosed that your friend or loved one who just shared that they identify as LGBTQ to give you the education so that you can learn how to properly, you know, love them. I don't know if that is how it should be or how it should work. Wellness Connection Services is hosting the Walking Into Worlds LGBTQ workshop at the Prairie Band Casino and Resort, July 13th and 14th. If you want to learn more information about how to be a good ally and relative to our Two-Spirit relatives and LGBTQ folks, feel free to come out. It's a community open event, and we hope to see you there.